I mean, it's really coming down. Take a look at this light up here. We're at the Bojangles off 4th Street, and you can really see just how much snow there is. And you can still see that thick smoke coming through the trees behind me. Sheriff James Hudson confirmed that one person has died from the shooting, but all the deputies involved are okay. Justin Evans and Casey Hancock will both continue campaigning. If you look at some of the light fixtures, you can see icicles hanging down, but it's mostly going to be just puddles on the ground. This petition, called Save St. John's Elementary, passed 1,000 signatures, but campers tell me that all takes a back seat to getting in the mud.
This will go to the president, Zelensky in Ukraine. There's a lot of things on your mind. You feel like you're running out of time.
Reverend Larry Williams of Tabernacle of God Ministries in Marion says he plans to perform this song during his next sermon.
Hold on, hold on.
He says he wrote it after donating more than $800,000 worth of medical supplies to Ukraine.
I think we as a people of faith, we should be on the front line. We should be on the front line. We can't allow this aggression to continue. We can't allow it.
The donation consisted of hospital gowns, bandages, and more than 1,000 medical kits, each of which contains everything a doctor would need to perform surgery, from scrubs to syringes.
These supplies have been in our warehouse for 2 years and was waiting on this moment.
He says the supplies were gathered for the church's mobile food bank, but after meeting Stan Petrovsky, a native Ukrainian and co-founder of the nonprofit The World for Ukraine, he came up with a different plan.
Reverend Larry and his team was outstanding. They supported us and helped us every step of the way. They had the forklifts, they had everything in order.
Petrovsky says the supplies, which you can see in this video shared by Williams, are headed to Poland, where they'll be sent to his contact in the Ukrainian government.
It feels like the community has our back. That's how it feels. When he came and talked to me, I just thought that the angel just came from the sky. That's how I feel that second.
Williams says the shipment is expected to be delivered next week. And in the meantime, he urges the people of Ukraine to keep holding on.
Help is on the way. You will see a brighter day. Hold on. Hold on.
Jack Bilyeu, News 13. Joseph Allen Wright's arraignment only lasted a few minutes. He appeared virtually to enter a plea of not guilty. The victim, Pastor Charles Pittman of Emmanuel Baptist Church, says he believes in forgiveness, but he also believes in accountability.
I think sometimes there's a confusion about forgiveness, that forgiveness means that there are no consequences. In cases like this, I do think that justice does need to be served.
Pastor Charles Pittman says he was working in his office on December 21st when a man identified in a federal indictment as Joseph Allen Wright broke into the church.
I thought initially that all it was going to be was a robbery. It soon dawned on me this is a kidnapping.
He says Wright took him outside the building at knife point. The two got in Pittman's car and headed north. Pittman says he began to pray silently.
I didn't know really whether, I had seen my family for the last time. I asked the Lord for wisdom. I asked the Lord for protection. I asked him to give me just direction of what to do.
He says those prayers were answered when officers with the Lumberton Police Department pulled up to the car while they were stopped at a convenience store.
They asked me, have you been kidnapped? I said yes. And so they got me out of the car and arrested the suspect.
We are very grateful to Lumberton PD and their officers for acting in such a quick manner.
Captain Mike Brandt with the Florence Police Department says the information provided by witnesses and the quick response from other agencies were crucial to getting Pittman home safe.
That coordination of efforts is what led to the best outcome that we could have had in this situation.
Pittman says his ordeal only lasted around 2 hours altogether. He's grateful to God that he made it back and just in time to participate in his Christmas service.
It was an experience that I sure don't want to have again, but at the same time, my faith has been strengthened through it.
Jack Bilyeu, News 13.
Most people know our mayoral race has some contention. Our election commission overturned that race,
The injunction was issued following questions of whether the winner of the race, Robbie Coward, lived in Latta or Dillon. Latta's Municipal Election Commission found he did not live in Latta, but Coward's attorney said in an appeal that he met all the standards of residents to run in the race and his vote was even counted.
I've spoken to Miss Nancy Brigman, who is our previous mayor, our sitting mayor, I guess technically, and she has agreed to stay on as mayor.
The council unanimously approved the motion to keep Brigman on as mayor while they decide what to do next. Kevin Drawhorn, a community activist who unsuccessfully ran for a seat on the council, says he's frustrated with the race being overturned, but even more so at the fact that public comments were not taken tonight.
If Robbie Coward broke the law, I myself wouldn't have voted for him. We voted, we spoke. Now please, let the man serve.
Drawhorn says he hopes to get more details on the injunction against Coward at the next town council meeting, which is set for next Thursday. The council members declined to comment further. In Latta, Jack Bilyeu, News 13.
We don't have this around here. All these bands want somewhere to play, and instead of going to Ohio or going to Philadelphia or Florida, why not just have it here?
Patrick Mahon says he loves punk rock, but wanted to see more live concerts in the area, so he started organizing them.
Here's the deal, Pat came to me years and years ago about just doing simple shows at the house.
Heather Haygood shared these pictures of the first Punking Intense last year. She says what started as a birthday party with live music turned into concert after concert after concert. They decided to do it again this year, but with a new venue.
Basically, it was in my friend's backyard last year. Now we're at the Florence Motor Speedway. So the plan is to just ramp up every year and make it bigger, make it better. Make it a fun experience.
There were vendors and food trucks. Punk fans traveled from across the state to spike up their mohawks and put on makeup to enjoy the shows.
The best part about this is just everyone being able to come together as a big punk rock metal family and really just enjoy each other's time and enjoy each other's music.
This is our culture, and this is what we represent. I've always been like this, and this is all the way I'm always going to be till the day I die.
Jack Bilyeu, News 13. One Atlanta hay farmer gave me a look at his finances for his next harvest. He expects to spend nearly 3 times as much on the chemicals he needs per acre compared to last year. Warren Coker says last year he paid $76 per acre for fertilizer.
This coming year, prices for that same fertilizer will cost me $196 per acre.
Coker's been farming since the 80s, and he says he's never faced a financial challenge like this before. He plans to raise the price of his hay to cover the cost, but he doesn't know how that will affect his sales.
You really don't know what to do. You don't know whether to continue to try to hope that people are able to buy the product at the price of what it is, or whether you just need to fold it up and quit.
He's far from the only farmer in the area impacted by the rise in prices.
We're going to cut back a little bit and kind of hope for the best. Next year's probably going to be a lean year as far as profit.
Making decisions about what we will plant for next year will depend on how high these fertilizer prices go.
Troy Brown manages Carolina Eastern in Lee County, which sells fertilizer and other chemicals to many of the farms in the area. He says he's heard the complaints from plenty of customers.
Here's the potash. That's one everybody's screaming about.
Everybody's worried about next year. How will they pay the bills? Will the commodity prices stay up?
He says chemical prices are expected to continue rising.
A lot of the countries that produce fertilizer, Russia, China, Egypt, are limiting their export. That's creating high prices.
It's stressful every day to think about it, but we just try to have faith that it's going to get better.
Brown says as chemical prices rise, so too will the price of crops. He's hopeful that they'll level out sometime next year. In Atlanta, Jack Bilyeu, News 13.